Being reincarnated into another world is old news now, because this time, our protagonist Touya in Another World with My Smartphone has reincarnated with, as the title suggests, his smartphone, so get ready to experience just what he does with the latest iPhone 15 Pro Max in a world filled with magic and beautiful women. God tells Touya he died from a lightning strike accident and explains the rule that prevents him from being revived in the same world. However, as compensation, he grants Touya a wish, so Touya chooses to keep his smartphone, which God allows, along with boosting his basic abilities. Touya wakes up in a different world and gets a call from God about his smartphone. He meets Xanax Zenfield, who wants to buy his school uniform, and then runs into Elze and Linse Shileska arguing with thugs over a crystal antler before he steps in, buys the antler, and defeats the thugs. After introducing themselves to each other, Touya and the twins head to the Silver Moon Inn, where the owner, Micah, assumes Elze found a boyfriend, which she denies. The next day, they visit the Adventurer Guild to handle a task involving one-horned wolves. Upon returning to the inn, Touya asks the twins to teach him magic and their language, so Linse shows him magic using spell stones, revealing his unusual ability to wield 6 magic attributes, and they're stunned when Touya accidentally opens a gate with null magic, teleporting them to the Eastern Forest. Back at the inn, Elze and Linse are impressed by his magic skills and meet Air, who runs the parent cafe. So Touya remarks that he should introduce ice cream to their world. Using his smartphone, he shares them a recipe, and Linse makes ice with magic. As they're happily eating, Touya thanks them for how much they've helped him. Touya, Elze, and Linse arrive in a new town while on their journey to deliver a letter to someone in the royal capital as requested by the guild. Touya says they should take a well-paid mega slime subjugation request, but the girls refuse because of how unpleasant it is. They come across a fight involving a young girl and several men looking for revenge. The girl, Yae Kokonoe, quickly disarms some of the men with her martial arts skills before Touya and Elze intervene, and they escape into an alley when some guards approach. Yae explains she's a traveler from Ishan and is low on funds, and despite Touya being worried about expenses, they treat her to lunch as she tells them about how she wants to enhance her skills and shares their destination, the royal capital, so they invite her to join them despite still being worried about their expenses. While riding in a cart, Linse gives Touya a spell book on null magic, so he starts experimenting with spells like Apport and Slip, discovering their potential and limitations. He jokes about using magic to steal, which worries the others before they suddenly run into a carriage under attack by lizard men summoned by a magician. They swiftly defeat the creatures and save a critically injured man, who turns out to be the Duke of Belfast's daughter's butler. They decide to escort Sue, the Duke's daughter, to the royal capital and are warmly welcomed by her family. Touya learns about her quest to heal her blind mother and her grandfather's fabled spell of null magic, and the girls who overhear their conversation reveal Touya's unique ability to wield any magic, so he successfully restores the Duchess's sight, which the Duke gratefully thanks him for, rewards him with a large amount of money and noble privileges as thanks. With their mission accomplished, Yae decides to join his party. Touya and his group walk around the city, with Elze suggesting they shop since they're in the royal capital. He's surprised by the non-human creatures, and they meet Arma Strand, a lost girl, who they help in finding her sister Olga, the ambassador of the Kingdom of Mismead. After the reunion, they split up for shopping, and Touya buys a special coat that increases protection against familiar magic, but also makes the wearer more vulnerable to unfamiliar magic. They decide to stay at the Silver Moon Inn for 3 days due to the heavy rain, and he watches Beryl and Dolan playing shogi, a game he created with modeling magic, annoying Micah. Elze and Yae try a new dessert at the parent cafe, roll cake, so she asks him to deliver some to the Duke's mansion. Touya delivers the cakes and introduces the Duke to shogi, intriguing him, after which they spend hours playing, and Sue isn't able to stop him despite her frustration with his shogi obsession. At the guild, Touya suggests hunting slimes, but the girls decline due to their dislike and accept a mission to defeat a Dullahan and one-horned wolves in the old capital ruins. Once they're done with the monsters, Touya's search spell surprisingly uncovers signs of historic treasure, so they start finding it and discover it buried under rubble, so Linse clears it with a fire spell, and they discover a hidden door leading to an underground passage. As they head inside, they find a symbol reacting to earth magic, revealing a tunnel. At the tunnel's end, they find a glass statue with a red glow before it suddenly emits a sound wave, collapsing the room. Touya teleports everyone to safety, and they defeat a glass monster that can absorb attacks with Elze, who gets injured, but manages to destroy its red orb. They report to the Duke and plan to decipher the language using Touya's smartphone photos before he senses more creatures like the monster could exist, and later learns of the king's poisoning, so he rushes to discuss it with the Duke. The Duke tells Touya about the situation, suspecting that nobles from Belfast might be responsible for poisoning the king due to their refusal to ally with the kingdom of Miss Mead. He explains that if the king were to die, his daughter, Princess Yumina, would inherit the throne, and the culprit might take advantage of her youth by advising her or marrying her. He asks Touya to use his recovery spell to heal the king, and at the castle, Count Balsa informs the Duke about a suspect arrested in connection to the assassination attempt, which surprises him. Count Balsa reveals it's the ambassador of Miss Mead and says they should kill him, but the Duke dismisses the idea, stating that the king will decide the ambassador's fate before Touya punishes Balsa with his slip spell for his suggestion. In the king's room, the Duke urges Touya to heal his brother quickly, which he does, shocking everyone present. After the failed assassination, the king says he would like to speak with the Miss Mead ambassador, who turns out to be Olga Strand, who Touya had previously helped. Seeing her, he vows to clear her name and investigates the scene with his search magic, discovering how the poisoning occurred. Gathering everyone present during the poisoning in the dining hall, Touya deduces that the culprit is among them, so Count Balsa accuses Olga. But Touya sees through his lie and asks General Leon to test a bottle of wine for poison, exposing Balsa as the culprit when he refuses to drink it. Balsa suddenly confesses to poisoning the king's glasses to frame Olga due to his hate for beast men and opposition to an alliance with Miss Mead before Touya arrests him with slip. Impressed by him, Princess Yumina asks for her parents' permission to marry him, surprising everyone, so the king agrees, and they decide that Yumina will live with Touya for 2 years to win his affection. Shocked, he reluctantly agrees to the arrangement and later receives a call from God. Returning to the inn with Yumina, Touya introduces her to the others before she hugs Kohaku, a giant tiger summoned by Touya, and the girls start fighting over him. Touya and the girls reluctantly travel by cart to their next destination, related to their upcoming guild quest to investigate a missing slime researcher's castle. Despite Touya trying to cheer them up, they arrive to find him hit by a falling wash basin that transforms into a new type of slime. They search the ground floor for the researcher's documents, mostly destroyed by other slimes, and decide to explore further. They run into even more slimes on the second floor, causing chaos when Elze slips on lotion slimes and falls down the stairs. Touya saves them from being dissolved but can't prevent their clothes from being ruined, so they frustratingly discuss destroying the castle after completing their mission, while Touya thinks about the researcher's experiments and strange statues. As they head deeper in, they find the researcher's office and his journal hinting, and come across slimes that transform into copies of the girls that try to get Touya's attention. Eventually, they see the castle burning, relieved to end the research, and Touya reflects on the researcher's ambitions before continuing his adventures with Kohaku and helping a lost child get back to her family. Returning to the inn, he helps Linse with ancient magic and surprises Elze with a gift, while Yumina receives a letter thanking Touya for his help. Touya and his friends reach the mansion gifted to him by the King of Belfast as a thank you for saving his life, and are amazed by how grand it is. Touya explains he initially turned down the knighthood that came with it and wonders how they'll manage it. Elze and the others, except Yumina, are surprised that they're invited to stay in the mansion with Touya, thinking it was just for him and her, but he assures them they're like family to him, which makes the girls blush. Yumina says she understands his feelings and supports the idea of them living together. Later, while Touya and Kohaku are in the garden, Yumina and the girls return and ask Touya if they can really stay in the mansion, which he agrees to, treating them equally to Yumina, who remarks they'll talk about it later, leaving him confused. They meet workers sent by the king to manage the mansion, including Lame, the king's butler, before the Duke of Belfast and Sea visit, discussing an adventure quest to set up a gate spell between Belfast and Miss Mead. Touya, along with Linse, Elze, Yae, and Yumina, joins Olga's group on a journey to Miss Mead, escorted by Belfast Knights led by Liam Blitz. During the trip, they play games and share their stories before Touya saves them from bandits, but they suddenly get attacked by a dragon, which they manage to defeat together. The next day, Touya slowly wakes up with his head resting on Yumina's lap before she tells the other girls to not act so grumpy after losing to her in rock, paper, scissors. Touya and the girls help repair the black dragon's damage as Leon praises their generosity for giving the dragon's body to the village. And the elder gifts Touya a fang, saying he should either sell it or craft a weapon before Touya finds a knife in the dragon's eye. As they're heading to Miss Mead, he asks Kohaku if he saw anyone else during the battle, which he agrees to but admits it might just be one of the others in the group before they reach Miss Mead. King Jamaka warmly welcomes them, surprised by Princess Yumina's presence before she discusses an alliance, and he thanks Touya for defeating the dragon, challenging him to a duel. As they're battling, Touya swiftly uses his spells to defeat him and later chats with Lion at a reception, noticing he has a crush on Olga. The girls admire Touya's outfit, and he snaps a photo with Flash, saying it's just null magic. That night, he meets Lean, who offers to teach him her null magic, but he declines. The next day, Touya shops with Linse and Yumina before they explore the forest. He crafts a weapon from the dragon fang, naming it Brunhild, and notices spies watching Yumina back in Miss Mead, who ask him to stay silent. The next day, he creates a portal for the king's meeting, while Lee decides to visit her student, Charlotte. Touya and the others return from their trip to Miss Mead, entering the Belfast mansion using a magical portal called Gate. They greeted Lame, Lapis, and Cecile, offering them gifts as tokens of appreciation before Lapis quietly thanks Touya for sending them back through the gate, protecting their cover as maids. Once they've rested up, Touya decides to take a bath, but is shocked to find all 4 girls in their underclothes, preparing to bathe as they see him. The girls start screaming in embarrassment and tell him off for not knocking before entering, so he hurriedly starts apologizing. The next day, he uses his magical ability, modeling, to work with rubber and metal parts, and a visiting duke gets interested in his work and asks about it, so Touya explains that he was building bicycles. The girls arrive at the terrace in confusion, so he quickly starts making bicycles for Elze and Linse, each customized to their preferences. Despite not being able to initially control it, the girls try to ride their bikes, and Yumina quickly gets the hang of it, seeing which Linse and Elze vow to improve their biking skills as well. Touya decides to create a bike for Sue and quickly heads out to gather the necessary materials. While in town, he steps in between 2 thieves and a hungry girl named Ren. After resolving the situation, he offers Ren a job at his mansion, which she happily accepts. Back at the mansion, he introduces her to everyone in the house and later realizes that he'd forgotten to buy the materials for Sue's bicycle. Yumina, Touya, Kohaku, and Sue head to Miss Mead upon Sue's request. Using a spell, Touya silently watches Leon and Olga's date. Returning to Belfast Mansion, they meet Paula and Lean, a fairy elder who asks for his help in investigating a crystal monster sighting. She tells him about her plans and explains a memory-sharing spell to enhance his teleportation abilities. Despite being jealous, the group helps with Lean's memory-sharing ritual, transporting them to Ishan. In Ishan, Lean shares her goal of finding the Neruya ruins to Touya and his friends. So Yae says they should ask her father for help since he might have valuable information, so they decide to head to Odo. Curious about Ishan's government, Yae tells Touya that the realm is ruled by regional lords under a central king, and that Odo's ruler is named Ieyasu. At the Kokonoe household, they get warmly welcomed from Ayan before meeting Yae's mother Nane. Yae introduces the others and tells Nane about how much they'd helped her. Worried about her father, she learns that he's battling Ieyasu's forces, with the Takada clan being a threat to Odo. Despite rumors of the clan's incoming victory, Touya helps strengthen the fortress against undead attackers controlled by mysterious masks. After their successful defense, they meet Yae's father, Jubai, and Lord Tokugawa, who praises Yae's bravery and Touya's help. They're informed about the Takada clan's plan led by Yamamoto Kansuke and decide to rescue the captured Elite Four members. Touya, Lean, and Tsubaki work together to get into the enemy compound, using their skills to battle Kansuke before they start using strategic spells before Touya neutralizes the enemy forces and disables their power source. With peace restored, they head out to find the Neruya ruins and head towards an island near the ruins with the help of Baba Nobuharu. Saying goodbye to Yae's family, Touya opens a portal to a beautiful beach, where they admire the beauty of the ocean. Upon reaching the beach, Yumina, Linse, Elze, and Yae excitedly jump into the water before Linse regretfully says that they forgot their swimsuits, surprising Touya, who didn't know they existed in this world. They decide to return to Belfast Mansion for shopping, and Lean tells Touya she doesn't mind them having fun instead of focusing on the ruins. So he invites Cecil, Lapis, Ren, Leon, Micah, and the royal family to join. He sets up changing tents, pool toys, and lounge chairs before Elze rushes into the women's tent, reminding Touya not to peek. Outside, Touya, now in his swimsuit, admires the ocean with Kohaku as Elze, Linse, and Yae join him, stunning him with their appearance. Touya compliments their swimsuits, especially flustered by Yae adjusting hers before Linse decides to sunbathe, while Elze and Yae play in the water. Sue and Ren greet Touya in their swimsuits, and he compliments them as Ren decides to collect sand, but Touya suggests taking a photo instead. Seashell joins them before tending to Sue and Ren, and he starts thinking of the rumor about floating breasts, caught off guard when Lapis overhears him. Meanwhile, the king and the duke have a water race. Yumina approaches Touya and confessing she chose her swimsuit with him in mind, before Touya says he can't play right now since he has to help Lean. Later, Lean disappointingly asks for Kohaku's help, summoning the Black Emperor, a turtle and snake duo, before Touya defeats them, earning their respect, and names them Kokyu and Sango. Returning to the beach, he decides to spend time with the girls who ask him to tell them who looks best in a swimsuit. Touya struggles to choose and picks Sue for her cuteness, before they see the photo he took of Sue and Ren and name him a lowly pervert. A while later, Touya asks for help from Kokyu and Sango to breathe underwater, so they activate a teleportation relic, transporting them to a garden where they encounter a girl who says she is the terminal that controls this aerial garden before he blushingly asks why she isn't wearing anything down there. The girl, Seska, explains that they are in the Garden of Babylon, a creation of Professor Regina Babylon, floating in the sky. Seska, who is also a creation of Regina, reveals that she is a controlled terminal without life energy, created 92 years ago. Touya realizes that she is a mixture of organic and magical components, similar to a robot, before Seska mentions her capacity for intimacy, although Touya considers it unnecessary information. She explains that everything in the garden, including herself, was magically reinforced to prevent decay, and tells him that he is now the owner of the garden, chosen for his compatibility with all elements. She explains the unusual test conducted when Touya arrived, where his reaction determined his suitability hearing, which he acknowledges Regina's madness. But Seska confirms that she made the final decision and identifies him as a kind and self-controlled person, considered better suited than other candidates, so he denies being a pervert. And Seska acknowledges him as her master. Meanwhile, the girls are still waiting for Touya on the Ishan beach and start playing until a wave interrupts. Linse and Yae discuss their swimsuits before Lean notices Charlotte's continued presence and wonders about Touya's delay. As Touya and the group explore the garden, they are in awe of its architecture, which is similar to that of the ancient Parthenon civilization. Seska being there surprises them, and Touya explains her role as the garden's overseer before she dresses him as her husband, but he hurriedly corrects her to proprietor, which shocks the other girls. Linse frustratingly questions Touya about his behavior, revealing her feelings for him and surprising everyone with a kiss. Seska joins Belfast Mansion as a maid while Touya heads back to his room, flustered by Linse admitting her love. Yumina, using her mystic eyes, watches as Linse sadly gazes after Touya leaves. Alone, he thinks about her confession before Yumina enters, revealing her anger, partly due to Linse's affection, but mainly because Seska stole his first kiss. To reassure herself, she kisses Touya to confirm that she's the first girl he kissed of his own will. Encouraged by Yumina, Touya admits that he thinks Linse is cute but is also surprised by her confession. Linse suddenly arrives, explaining her tears were due to misunderstanding Touya's avoidance. They make up, and he accepts Linse as his second fiancée under Yumina's guidance. The next day, Elze and Yae question Touya's decision, challenging him to a fight, and despite his lack of romantic feelings for Linse, Touya says he deeply cares for her, so Elze and Yae confess their love too, and admit they want to be his wives as well, stunning Touya, Yumina, and Linse. Meanwhile, Seska delivers a holographic message from Professor Babylon, guiding Touya, who tries asking God for advice, and is told to put his desires first and consider polygamy normal in his world. That evening, Touya tells the girls that he's willing to marry when they're all ready, which Yumina and Linse accept calmly, while Elze and Yae are discouraged, but Touya starts kissing each fiancé, beginning with Elze, who knocks him out in embarrassment. Outside, Seska reveals Professor Babylon's vision of Touya with 9 wives, Surprising Lean, who teasingly asks Master to let her in on the fun too before Seska asks her because she is one of them as well, so she answers with a perhaps. Later, as Touya's walking, he tells God that he needs to hone himself as a man before meeting a boy named End, who has an interestingly shaped coin, and with that the story comes to an end. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.